General Campbell, first, thank you for your years of distinguished service and brave service to our country. I and the people I represent are all very grateful for all you have done. You have a little over 10,000 troops left in Afghanistan right now. Is that correct?
That is correct. I have the CJ SOAR, the statement of requirements for the NATO mission is about 12,900.
And most Americans who didn't serve in the military see it and experience it through movies, television, and so forth. If you look at the recent popular movie American Sniper, where the Chris Kyle character is giving Overwatch to Marines going door to door in Anbar province, kicking down doors, that's probably what they have in mind when they think about our operations both in Iraq and Afghanistan. Do you have many or any infantrymen or dismounted tankers or artillerymen conducting those kind of operations in Afghanistan today?
I have men and women that continue to be able to provide for their own force protection. We do not plan offensive combat operations at all, but I have to make sure that the men and women that are on the combat outposts, the FOBs, that they have the ability to provide for their own force protection. We do that mostly by, with, and through our Afghan partners, but they do have to have the ability to continue to patrol in what we call a GDA or a ground defense area outside of those FOBs, but it's for force protection.
Is it fair to say that you have more troops providing things like aerial support, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance support, brigade, division, corps level planning support, things like that?
As opposed
to going out and conducting dismounted or mounted combat patrols?
Yeah, Senator, I don't know the percentage-wise, but I would tell you that I'm comfortable that we have the ability to provide force protection on our COPs and FOBs, and at the same time provide the requisite expertise to do the ISR mission, that kind of thing. That ties hand in hand with force protection. ISR is a great force protection enabler.
Mm-hmm. And I raised the distinction between those kind of frontline infantrymen who are doing the kind of missions that you typically see in Hollywood movies, because I think it's important for the American people to know, whether it's from people like us here or from yourself, that a lot of the missions that our troops are doing in Afghanistan right now truly are supporting the Afghan security forces, that helps build public support for our continued mission in Afghanistan, that this is not the kind of war that we were fighting in Afghanistan or Iraq a decade ago. So that's something of which we should all be mindful as we're trying to marshal more public support for this continued campaign. Related point, if you could speak roughly, when would you say the 2015 fighting season would end in Afghanistan? When do the conditions in most of the country become too harsh for our adversaries to keep fighting?
Well, again, I think, Senator, it depends on the season. This past year, the winter season has been very mild, so we haven't had a lot of snow. The passes haven't closed down between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And I think there's many people that would say today, in fact, it's kind of a continuous season, and we wouldn't look at it as fighting season to fighting season. But the Afghans continue to talk in those kind of terms. Fighting season is really tied around the weather. And so from about the April timeframe to the end of September timeframe are the traditional months that I think we've seen increase in enemy activity and operations.
How does that impact the timing of your decision point for whether you would recommend that we keep the current troop levels or we are able to reduce troop levels further? Is there a point on the calendar at which you can no longer wait to make a decision?
Senator, as I talked about earlier, there is a point in physics when I have to start descoping and retrograding equipment, downsizing facilities to be able to get to a number at a certain point in time. As you know, we would call those decision points. We've got those laid out. I feel comfortable where we are right now, that I have flexibility in that plan as we move forward on this winter review. But there will come a point in time that I'll say, hey, here's a decision point. We've got to make a decision by X.
Okay. Well, I would encourage you, as I encouraged the Secretary of Defense nominee, to speak out using your best professional military judgment. I think you'll find that there's a lot of members of this institution, the Senate and the House of Representatives, who would support you and support the decision of the President to keep at least 10,000 troops in Afghanistan until 2017, because it's in our vital national security interest. And I know you know the risk that we face from leaving Afghanistan too early. This is not your first rodeo there or anywhere else. And I would say the risks are embodied in those pictures that you have over there of the electricity in Kabul late at night. Those are great gains. We should be proud of that. We should be proud of all the efforts that our troops have put into it. But what I worry about is an American city that looks like that going dark because of a terrorist attack that is once again launched from Afghanistan, which is the land from which al-Qaeda attacked us on 9/11. And it is the singular achievement in the war on terror that we have expelled al-Qaeda from that safe haven and they have not returned. And it is critical to make sure they don't. I appreciate all of your efforts to make sure that doesn't happen.